Welcome to the Estate Professionals Mastermind Podcast, a podcast for estate professionals who earn more, work less, and make a huge difference in their communities. If you get value out of this free content, be sure to check out probatemastery.com, where you can get live classes, access to weekly coaching, and valuable courses. To learn more, visit probatemastery.com. Now let's jump into this week's content.
Welcome to our Probate Mastery real estate coaching call. We do this every Tuesday at 11 a.m. Pacific time, 2 p.m. Eastern, and everything else in between or on either side. I'm Bill Gross. I'm a real estate broker in Los Angeles, California. I run a national team of realtors across the country, and I'm a practitioner. And I think just to kind of set this up real quick, the purpose of this call is not just to sell Probate Mastery, though I'm a client and I paid for the training and various other classes. The purpose of this call is to help you implement this into building your real estate sales business, your real estate investing business, but really focus we're trying to hit is real estate sales, listing property, dealing with buyers. And so how do you take the things you learn in the class and implement them in a way that results in more sales? That's what we're here to talk about. So I personally listen to several other competing calls. I host one myself, Probate Weekly, by the way, kind of as a shameless plug. But I also listen to others, and they get really a lot of time into two things. One, selling their product or service, and two, how to use it as far as a marketing. And we're really not going to focus on that here today. We really want to focus on how to generate business and I think leverage your knowledge and experience and expertise to leverage that into business rather than just focusing on cold calling. And the phrase that I use, I was married 36, almost 37 years ago, next month, actually. Hard to believe. And I don't want to say that I follow this advice, but I remember the advice. I'm good at sharing the advice, not as good at doing the advice. The rabbi, when we were getting our wedding vows, the rabbi gave advice. He said, the key to success in marriage, like any relationship, is being the right partner, not finding the right partner. As realtors, we spend a lot of time looking for homeowners who have to sell, looking for attorneys that have to sell, rather than being the right partner. And I believe that Probate Foundations and the Probate Mastery program is going to help you be the partner that will benefit your customers so that they'll want to do business with you. Both those that are new to you, cold calling or marketing, or your current database and your current client list. And so I always try to focus on those things that will make me better, smarter, more valuable to my customers, rather than tricks to fool people into doing business with me. One question I get every week, and I got it yesterday on Facebook, is what's the easiest way to get the data? The easiest way. And that's a word that always repulses me, because anything that's easy isn't of any value. In fact, the value of anything is measured by the effort it takes to get it. And so the right question is really, what's the best way to market myself? What's the best way to learn about people who need my service? What's the best way to reach out to those people? And how can I be better and more effective in that? So that's what I focus on. And I believe that's what this program is based on. The founder, Chad Corbett, as well as the current proprietor, Bruce Hill, that's their focus as well. Quick housekeeping, the program, Probate Mastery, probatemastery.com, and you'll see on there really 3 tracks. There's the basics, if you want to get certified, and then additional courses and bundles, and this is being updated as we speak. And then we can continue that conversation in the Facebook group, Estate Professionals Mastermind, over 7,000 members. Feel free to ask questions about the program here, post your probate-related content, look for referrals and such. And then separately, I run a program, probateweekly.com. Every Thursday at 4 p.m., it's an interview format where I interview attorneys, investors, vendors, and such. Love to have you participate there. It's a live Zoom call like this. And then you could continue conversation with me and that program at probateweekly.com. We have over 3,200 members in that group as well. And so love to have you participate there. Okay, so that said, and this is meant to be participative. So if you have a question, raise your hand or jump in or put in the chat box. How many emails? Top of mind. Okay, so I started before we were on the call, I had asked the question, does getting emails for the holiday of Halloween make you feel more likely to do business with somebody or not? I think the general consensus is yes. So maybe I'm one of those bah humbug on holiday people who doesn't like those, but I'm glad to find out not everybody thinks like me. First hand up, Danny Chalabi. Danny, what's going on, man? How can we help you?
Hey, thanks a lot for this call. I actually love the fact that you invite, even folks that are not part of the course. I'm actually thinking about joining the course, and I wanted to ask, I'm not sure if you're familiar with Sharon Bornholt. Have you heard of her?
Mm-hmm. I know Sharon well. I actually interviewed her on my YouTube channel.
Yeah. So what's the difference between this course and hers? Because I'm trying to pull the trigger on either. So I would love to hear your feedback on this.
I met her on I think through this group. I'm looking for my interview with her that I did. There it is, probate tips for wholesale. Yeah, so I interviewed her on my YouTube channel going back, when was this? A year ago. Great lady, phenomenal resource. I would say that her focus, I went to my interview, Sharon, right there. I believe she's more and I haven't been in touch with her, to be honest, for the last few months, maybe 6 months. But she's more focused on investors than I think realtors. So are you an investor or are you a real estate agent?
Yeah, I'm actually an investor slash wholesaler. So
that's your focus. And I also would say, to answer your question, different flavors, different styles. Chocolate versus vanilla, which ice cream do you like better? Everybody has an opinion. And it doesn't mean one's right or wrong. It just means that some people like chocolate and some like vanilla. I think she does a good job. I don't think she has as comprehensive a program as Probate Mastery. And I think that the reason why I'm involved with Probate Mastery is I believe it more aligns with my belief that it's about being of more value to your customers, though Sharon, I think, also is similarly aligned, and that's why I feel comfortable in promoting her and interviewing her and such. So I think she's great. She's a very experienced practitioner as well. So I would say definitely check it out, and if that works for you, I would go forward with it. And if Probate Mastery rings your bell more, I'd go that way. Hopefully, you'll get a flavor of what Probate Mastery is like on this call here today.
Okay, got it. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Sure. Okay. Other questions, comments? I don't see any hands up, and I don't see anything else in the chat box. There we go. Is it Elise? What we got? Let's get you unmuted. Here we go. Yes.
How you doing? Yeah, well said, Elise. It's Elise LaFrance. But thank you.
I love that, Elise LaFrance. And where are you from, Elise? That's a great accent.
I'm from New Jersey in Florida, and my family from Haiti.
From Haiti. You guys sound so sophisticated in Haiti, I gotta say.
Yeah.
How can I help you?
So now I've signed up for this email blast. I'm literally just seeing the email blast that I've gotten. And I haven't really dived too deep into the website, but I just wanted to ask, I already have experience buying probate deals, wholesaling probate properties. What can you teach somebody that's already doing this as far as wholesaling or flipping wholesale probates? What can you teach me differently is what I'm asking.
Well, personally, my focus is real estate sales. Mm-hmm. I work with wholesalers and investors. I list wholesale property, so I have investors and wholesalers that call me every day. When you're a real estate agent who has listings, mm-hmm. you're like the prettiest girl at the prom. Everybody's trying to get under your skirt. It's kind of how it feels. And so I have to be a little distant in some regards, but that is my experience. I am an investor, though my investments are more limited partnerships in multifamily. I have flipped houses. I have wholesale property, but it's not what I do all day long. So I'm not going to give you insights on how to do that specifically. I think the purpose of this program is maybe to teach you how to be more effective at approaching the families and getting them to trust you, getting you to earn their trust, getting you to be of value to them so that they would consider using you as the resource to convert, a property they have an interest in into cash. And so, as I said in the beginning, we started, I think the key, there are a lot of programs going to teach you, I think, tricks and trades of how to, cold call and I think it's important to do something correctly. You should have the proper scripting and the proper mail and email. But our focus on this call is more about your come from. And I think it's more about challenging you to be more valuable to the prospects so they'll want to do business with you.
Okay. And it also talks about solving the. So you're saying you're more so.
Here's the other thing, because I'm not a salesman, so I really don't care if you buy it or not. I mean, I'm here because I'm a practitioner. I need a mastermind of colleagues to work with to build my business. I'd love to work with you in Florida, New Jersey, and maybe find realtors that you like and bring them on my team, for example. I'd love to find properties that we need investors on in New Jersey or Florida to have you consider as an investor or wholesaler. So I'm glad to work with you. I think the purpose of this call, as opposed to the program or any other program, is to really, I'm a practitioner. I'm actually doing this every day. And I think when I agreed to do the coaching and I talked to Bruce about it, I said, I want to be free to tell the truth. I don't want to be tied into, I need to hit the company line because you're paying me, because I don't really care. I make a lot of money selling houses. And so what I would say to you is, I'd like to think, in my experience, this is the only place I go to where I meet other people who are practitioners who are doing this business that I learn from, share ideas with, and share tricks and actual work with. Not the marketing. I don't cold call. I don't do direct mail. So we're not going to hear, you're not going to hear from me, this is the right script, or this is the right dialer, or this is the right data source. There are a lot of them, because I think those are important to do. But the real difference is when I talk to a customer, they get I'm an expert and they do business with me because of that. That's my focus.
Got it. Okay. Now that's definitely valuable too. So I just wanted to know more about, I appreciate you answering the question.
Sure. Feel free to participate and ask questions here. And then also in the Facebook group, and you'll find more people who will maybe give you some insight what the program's like. Okay.
Got it.
But for my money, this is the only program that has this call regularly, as well as the probate, where it's actually about practicing, not just selling the program. And if I'm a little short, I really don't have to sell the program. Either buy it or don't buy it. Like, this is where if you bought it, you want to use it. This is where we want to put to work. Unlike other companies, I think we don't want to just sell to you and have you go somewhere else. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. Okay. Other questions, comments? I'm going to share with you just to be real, not to brag, but what's my business look like? And I can tell you today at 8, I did a short interview for my YouTube channel. I sent out a negotiation document on conditions for a commercial property that I believe we finalized. Clear contingency is going to close this week. Sent out and got signed a amended offer for a buyer on a property. At 9 o'clock, did another interview with a national vendor in the probate space. And that's what my mornings look like. Oops, I'm so sorry. I should have.
I would like to ask.
So my point about, let me just finish. It's just say my point about it is to say that this is what I'm doing all day long, is actually working with these transactions, working with sellers and with attorneys on listing property. I'm sorry, who was that had a question?
I had a question.
Juan Carlos, what's going on?
Yes, sir. What would be the best way to approach in order to get probate properties?
So again, I think there's a lot of ways to answer that question. Are you a real estate agent or an investor?
No, I'm an agent.
And where do you sell real estate?
Pardon me, I didn't get what you said.
Where do you sell real estate? What city, what state do you do business in?
South Florida, Dade, Broward, and Palm Beach.
I'm going to be in Sunrise, Florida, November 21st for a week with my family. I'm thinking of doing a live probate get together there, by the way, just kind of FYI. So make sure if you're interested, I have your name and number and email. Sure. So what's the best way to get data? I don't think there's one best way. The thing I would ask you is, let me back up a little more. So you're already doing business. Are you already making a living in real estate? Is it something you're doing full time and you're looking to add probate? or is this something
No.
you'd like to start out in?
I do full time, and I have done a couple of probates, and I'm doing one right now, and I kind of like the idea of uh, spending more time in probate properties. I think there's a niche there for me.
So I think the thing that I tell agents who are what I would call already established, full-time, making a living, they want to add probate, maybe you want to increase your business or
That's fine.
add to it or diversify, is, and this is not what you're going to want to hear, but I'm going to tell you the truth, is you want to start with the people you already have and create value to them in establishing yourself as an expert in probate and avoiding probate, or what we call estate planning. And so what I would be doing if I were you would be, number one, developing content regarding those topics to share with your database via email, social media. Two, reaching out to your database to see who is already a probate attorney. You may not know that you sold a house to a guy where he runs a construction company, and unbeknownst to you, his wife is a probate attorney, or his wife is an estate, or vice versa. She's in construction, he's a probate attorney. And so you want to start going through your database and finding those people that already know, like, and trust you. You also, I think, want to find local estate planning attorneys, because you have clients in Florida who buy houses who use an estate plan because they bought the property in the name of their trust, right? They buy it in the name of Mary and Bob Family Trust. I would call those clients of mine and say, hey, I know you bought the property in the name of your trust. I have clients who need estate planning attorneys. Can you tell me who did yours and were you happy with them or not? And if they're happy with them, you have an excuse to call the guy and gal and talk to them about referring other customers to them. If they're not happy, they might look for somebody else. Now you have somebody to refer when you do find a good answer for an estate planning attorney. I know there's a lot in your part of Florida. And so that's what I would focus on. So rather than buy data of people who filed probates, of which are all strangers to you, I would do that. Now you might buy the data. Here's another hot tip for you and similar, what I would call full-time established agents. You might buy the data for a couple months and search by attorney to see if there aren't names there that pop up to you that are familiar. Because what I found was there are a couple attorneys that I didn't know they were probate attorneys or did probates that are now customers. I didn't have to make them a customer. I just had to tell them that I did probate, and I could assist them and share with them what I could do to help them. And that became an easy sale.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. If anything else comes to your mind during this program, please let me know.
Will do. Well, Carlos, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay. There we are. So where was it going on the... Oh, so I was just going to share. So the escrows I'm doing, one of them, an investor, kind of like who was I talking to a little while ago, who's not a real estate agent, but an investor, called me up and said, hey, Bill, I got this property and it's vacant, but I can't figure out who the owners are. And I did some research and discovered that the owner was deceased. And put them together with my heirs research vendor, found who the heirs were, talked to them, opened probate, and was selling the property to the investor. So that's where I became value to my investor, which is I can help them put that deal together in a way that other realtors can't. I found the right attorney to get done quickly, where the wrong attorney where it could be a long, drawn out, nightmarish mess. So that's one. The other one was a vendor who asked me to help them out. And so what I would say to you is that anytime you work with title, escrow, lenders, make sure they know that you're a probate expert as well. Because I had one of them call me and say, hey, can you help us with this? Well, that's what I do. In their mind, I'm only cold calling probate sellers all day long. I would much rather work with a vendor, wouldn't you?
Sure.
Much rather work with vendors. So let's make sure that everybody we know, everybody who knows, likes, and trusts you know that this is what you're working on. And the last thing I would say on that, and I say this a lot, there was a movie, Catch Me If You Can, with Leonardo DiCaprio, where he pretends to be a famous fraud artist, who, among other things, he posed as a Pan Am, or not Pan Am, but as a captain of a pilot of a plane, commercial plane. But he also, during the movie, pretended to be a high school teacher. While he was still in high school, he was, I think, of age to be a senior. I think he was 17 or 18, and he posed as a substitute teacher at high school, teaching history class. And they asked him, "How did you pass yourself off as a history teacher in high school?" And he said, "Well, I found out where the class was, and I just read the chapter ahead of them. And by knowing just one more chapter than they did, they saw me as a teacher." And that's a challenge to all of you, that if you spend some time today, a half hour, an hour, and learn something about probate, and I'm speaking to you, Juan Carlos, a little bit, how do you find things to talk to your customers about? If you spend a half hour looking at some YouTubes on probate or avoiding probate, or going online and reading information, you're going to learn something that your clients mostly don't know. And if you share it with them, you become the teacher to them. And that's the challenge I would have for all of you. Okay, Courtney Rollins wrote a book and posted it here in our comment section. You have experience with quiet title? Yes. I have a closing, but clearing title has become a challenge. Do you show the seller and deceased father as owner? And the D2 that names his deceased father and deceased mother. Closing says, let's say blank and backed off. Okay. So I don't know, Courtney, if you want to come in, we can talk about that a little bit. You're asking a question. Go ahead.
Actually, I think I have it wrong. It's not a deceased mother. I think it's a deceased sister. But yeah, you said the bigger the challenge, the bigger the problem, the greater chance to serve and to, be compensated. And so this one is definitely one. But my closing attorney said that it's one of the craziest one he's seen, and there may be possibly 30 to 40 part owners of the property. But a lot of folks are deceased, and so I was doing research and checking into groups like this, and people were suggesting some like curative title type of work. I didn't even know what curative title what that term was until I looked it up. But regardless, one option someone said is possibly doing a quiet title where the seller makes a claim in court, and it would give him, if they granted it, if the court saw that he was the owner, it would give him full ownership, and then he would have the ability to sell. So I was wondering if anyone had any experience in North Carolina or Virginia. It looks like those are statutes in North Carolina and Virginia. And also it gives me a great opportunity to go, network with other attorneys to ask this question and figure this out. But
well, for sure. Anytime you have a question, there's a chance to speak to an attorney and ask them questions, right? And so we all need to work on those resources. I'm not familiar in Virginia or North Carolina, but I've had this subject come up regularly in California. So a common case is a man is married, divorced, remarries his new wife, buys the property as sole and separate, joint tenants, not as community property, because it's not. He owned it before he was married. And when he passes, what happens is his interest in California law passes equally to his current wife and his other estate, which could be his prior wife and or kids. And so what happens is sometimes you'll have two warring parties. You have the ex-wife or the stepson and the new wife. And they hate each other. And they each have 50%. So quiet title is a action that's used to force a party to sell or to have the court force clearing of the title, as opposed to probate. In this case, we had to first probate the estate. You can't make a dead person sell the house, and you can't make the dead person's spouse sell the house until she's on title. And so in this case, they had to first create a probate estate, establish that the first wife had 50% interest, then file a quiet title to force her to sell, which she agreed to sell, and I got the listing, we sold the property. So these are areas that then there's different fine lines and there's different laws in different states. And frankly, I started learning this and I know, Courtney, you have a YouTube channel. I just called quiet title attorneys and asked a couple to be interviewed on my YouTube channel. And while on one hand, my YouTube content is marketing my business and promoting my business, to be honest, my one criteria for me to put on my channel is that I find it interesting, that I learn from it. And so that keeps the content fresh and interesting because I'm truly interested. So I'd say this area you want to learn in, you should not only call attorneys, but you might want to offer to interview them about it on your YouTube channel, because I know you have one and it's entertaining, and this is a good opportunity to add to that.
Great. Appreciate it. Yeah, I think that one of the challenges is that there aren't people trying to challenge the sale. They just don't know who. They don't know if people are alive or who. So it's going to be a lot of chasing down and skip tracing and all. But that is a great opportunity to ask and all.
Yep. Okay. Well, good. Can I provide the YouTube link when you spoke with the attorney about quiet title? Wow. My YouTube channel, gosh, I should know. I have what is it? Oh my gosh. Videos. I have a domain that points to it and I forgot it. You go through trouble of setting this stuff up. But if you go to my YouTube channel, at Bill Gross Probate, you'll find my YouTube channel. And if you search Bill Gross Probate, quiet title, it should pop up. But that's the best I could do while we're on this call. I'm sorry, Sabina. All right, Courtney, thanks, man. Always great to see you. Lisa Young, hand up. How can we help you? Let's get you unmuted.
Thank you. Yeah. So I'm super new. This first time I've been on your group here, and I'm not really sure of your format, but thought I would ask a question about estate planning attorneys who do seminars on estate planning, and then you go in and you have an hour with them, and if you want to move forward. And so I guess my question would be, when reaching out to clients in my database and talking with them about how to prevent ever going to probate, what probate is and what have you, and let them know that I'm going to be attending some of these estate planning too, and then put the link in. If I put the link in to go to the attorney thing, I'm trying to think of how to format the question. Will I lose the ability to know who's going, or would you create a different link that goes straight to you, like an Eventbrite link that's similar or something? I mean, I don't know.
That's what I do
very well.
Okay, so I think your question is, if you're going to promote your customers to go to somebody else's event, how do you want to do that?
Thank you. That's pretty eloquently stated.
I do this a lot. So what I would say is a couple of things. You might, if you have the relationship with the attorney, set it up in a way that they give you access to the data. So if you set, like, if they have Eventbrite, they can create a tracking link they give you, and that way they can track all the sales through you that you generate. That's one option. Another option is you can just create your own Eventbrite of their event with their permission. When people register, then you just take the person's information and go into their registration page and put it there, or have a virtual assistant do it for you. So I do that a lot, where I'll set up my own event of somebody else's event, capture the registrants, and then put it into their system, and that way have kind of the best of both worlds.
So are you using their link, but it's through your Eventbrite, so you see who is actually going, and then you give the attorney the information? Did I hear that correctly?
Yeah, so it depends on who it is and my relationship with them. But I would say I've done it both ways, but more commonly I just do my own Eventbrite of their event.
Okay.
Because they're not using Eventbrite typically.
Right.
Well, so I'll register people for your event with Eventbrite. And I set up and I just send them all the information they want, maybe a spreadsheet or whatever. If they're using Eventbrite, you can do your own Eventbrite event. Now, the problem is now you have two events the same day with the same content. So that's going to look a little weird. Yeah. So if they're not using Eventbrite, I would set up my own on that and then collect the data and give it to them however they want it. Most people I find want to use Zoom as the registration. So what I would do is I would collect the Eventbrite registrants and then go into their Zoom registration and sign up all the customers on the Zoom registration.
That makes sense. Okay.
Then I have all the data. Okay. And then Eventbrite allows you to customize what information you collect. You can add in, for example, by default, you get name and email. You can add in phone number, for example, or, what do you do for work, or where do you live, or things like that.
Thank you.
Sure.
And would you do that with, if you've created and developed a relationship with a couple of attorneys, is there an amount of attorneys you want to be really engaged with, or does it just
More.
exponential? The more the better.
Sure, why not?
Okay.
If I had 100, you don't think I went 101?
Yeah. Okay.
I get from 90 to 100.
I overthink this stuff so much, and I'm like,
Yes.
now wait a minute, am I just getting in my way? Just get the hell out of the way and move forward. Or okay, gotcha.
You can't have too much sales. You'll figure it out. One thing I've learned in this business is if you have enough business, you'll figure out how to handle it. Don't ever worry that you have too much business. Like I have too many escrows, I can't really do any more prospecting. No, you just can. If your prospecting is generating business, you keep prospecting. You'll make enough money to pay somebody to handle all the rest. Right? I mean, I just don't do a lot of stuff that other agents do because I don't have to, because I make enough money to pay somebody else to do it. I don't put on lock boxes. I don't go and take photographs. I don't meet inspectors. Because as long as I'm generating business, I can afford to pay somebody else to do it. So I'd say with you, if you have 100 attorneys, get 101. The more attorneys you have referring you business, if that's all you did all day long, if the only thing you did, could you imagine a business where all you did all day was went to coffee with attorneys if you like going to coffee, going to lunch if you like going to lunch, maybe golfing or playing tennis or whatever you like to do in the afternoon with attorneys, and then maybe had once a week or twice a week cocktail parties with attorneys where you were the one that everybody in the room knew. Could you do that and find somebody else to handle all the rest of the real estate stuff?
Sure.
If you're doing like 100 sales a month or something?
Heck yeah, all day long.
Yeah, all day long. So that's the goal.
So you can really create a business in probate just with referrals from the attorneys, right? I mean, you can do all the other prospecting, but
I don't do any other prospecting, but let me be clear. I prospect to attorneys, to investors, wholesalers, and to other realtors, right? Generating referrals. I'm looking for inbound referrals. I'm not cold calling anybody.
Got it. See, I like that. I can do that. That sounds like a really good plan.
All day. It's like the funnest job in the world.
Yeah. Okay.
Like we're done with this, I'm going to go for a walk. I live in Los Angeles. It's beautiful out. I go up a hill and come down a hill, have a little lunch break, and go back to work about 3:00 and another podcast idea. So yeah, no, I work hard. I mean, I was on the phone and Zoom calls from 8:00 until now, nonstop. But I like what I do, but I haven't been to an inspection. I can't tell you when I was last at an inspection, showed a property, put a lockbox on. I mean, there are a lot of things that realtors will say, I'm so busy doing this stuff. You can pay somebody $20 an hour to do almost all of that. Okay, great. Lisa, thanks so much. Hand up, Lisa. I'm sorry, Linda Penrod. What is up, Linda?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yep.
Great. I'm new to this as well, but I'm curious. First of all, on her point, I would think the attorneys would want to know that you're calling them and working with 2 or 3 or 4 of them. And I've been counseled to only try to develop the relationship with a few of them for that reason, that they will not like it and to think about your idea that they'd be in a room and see each other. It's just surprising. So I just wanted to ask that, have you complete that thought. My next question
let's do one at a time. I'm not that smart, so let me take one at a time. Where do you sell real estate?
In Philadelphia.
Oh, I was just on a phone call with a resource in Philadelphia, and my parents are both from Philly, so I definitely have some Philly roots. So Philly is like LA, a very tangled probate process. What I would say to you is that you're overthinking it. That really, you imagine in Philadelphia is like LA. There's probably 10 top probate attorneys who everybody kind of knows each other.
Mm-hmm.
And there's like another 90 or 100 to do once in a while. And are you saying to me that if everyone knew you to be a probate expert real estate agent, that would be a bad thing? If every single one knew you, you really think that possibly could be anything but the greatest thing ever for your business?
No, but yes and no. I would think a lot of them would feel as though, hey, she can be calling these other lawyers instead of me. Whereas if someone believes you're minding them and working with them and just developing a relationship with them, they'll continue to send you business. And
okay, so this is not dating. This is not hookup culture, going to nightclubs. Nobody's worried about you being promiscuous. They want the expert. And here's what I'm going to tell you. If they see you talking to the attorney, they're going to assume you know what you're doing.
okay.
I literally had a case. I sold this house last month where one of my best attorneys referred me to the client, and there were two warring parties. They've been warring for like 5 years on selling this property. Both attorneys had to agree to put together a list of realtors to submit. They each put up 3 names. I was on both of the lists. And the client called me and said, "You must be really good because we hate the other attorney, we hate the other party, and of the 3 realtors they named, you were one of them." You think that was a bad thing they knew me or a good thing?
Good.
Yeah. I got to, by the way, that check is cash. So what I would say to you is I wouldn't worry about that at all. The opposite. That's why when last week I had a property that needed to be confirmed in court. Unlikely there would be a lot of people there, but I was there in a suit looking like an attorney so that anybody who was in the room saw me talking to the judge, saw me talking to the attorney, and assumed I'm the guy that they want to talk to. So I would say the opposite. And I don't know how it is for women, but in men, you want to see the girl that everybody's after. Nobody wants to see the girl nobody's interested in. Everybody wants the girl that everybody's chasing after. You want to be that realtor. You don't want to be like I don't want to be like any other realtor. I don't want anybody to think of me, "Oh, you're one of those," because that's never good. I want to be the one that go, "This guy is different." And I would say for you, if you walked in the room and every attorney knew you were, and if they all at the same moment blurted your name out, assuming you were their best friend, to only be disappointed to discover that you actually are friends with all the other attorneys, that'd be the best thing that could ever happen to you.
Okay. All right. Thanks. I wanted to pick up on the question that was asked. The second question I have is, speaking of preparing, I have been preparing and doing just what you said, learning every day. I've been taking multiple courses. I just bought 2 books and I'm halfway through one. But when it comes to making the presentation to an executor, personal representative, and some of the family members, and I'm talking to the things that are in my bailiwick, where does it become problematic when they start asking questions? Is it going to be obvious when it's more legal? And how do you make sure that you're not indicating, or that they don't say, "Oh, I thought you also could answer some of these questions"? Does that ever happen or not?
Yeah, it happens a lot that they ask me questions that I think at first, so I work for in the most highly regulated state in the country, California, in the most highly regulated city or two, LA, maybe San Francisco is more. I work for a national real estate company that's very compliant focused. We're very concerned that we have a bullseye on our rear end that people are going. So we follow the rules. We try to stay right in the lane. And I'm sure if the compliance police was watching over my shoulder, they would constantly be on alert when I say things. But I'm also very precise to say, I'm not an attorney. I'm not going to give you legal advice, but I can give you 2 things. One, business advice related to the law. I can tell what the right business practice is, whether it's the right legal choice or not. That's the attorney's job. That's not mine. But I can tell you what will get your house sold faster because I know the business process. And 2, I can give real estate related. Technically, it is legal advice because as a licensee, I'm authorized to do a certain subset of things that otherwise only an attorney can do. But I'm allowed to do it in real estate by representing my clients. So there are certain things that technically are legal. Now, when you say it out loud, the broker freaks. So I don't want to say I'm giving legal advice, but between me and you and everybody on the call, it is a subset of legal advice that we are authorized as licensees to discuss. So I all the time tell them, based on my experience, what I see. Literally before this phone call, I had an attorney reach out to me asking me questions on a certain procedure on filing a petition in LA County Court. I give attorneys, advice on how to process their files all the time. Is that legal advice? No, I'm not giving them legal advice. I'm giving them the business advice. So I think you have to disclaim that properly. And the other thing I would say is, I can't give you legal advice, but I have had attorneys tell clients the following, and I repeat what an attorney told another client.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Okay, great.
My pleasure, Linda. Thank you so much. And there you go.
Quick
From the
question.
system. Yes.
When you tell them that you can sell faster, they're going to say, well, how do you do to sell faster? What would be the correct short answer to something like that, to a question like that? Because you're going to tell them, I can sell faster than others because, I've been in the business and I know how to do probate. But they're going to ask you, what do you do to make it faster? What would be the answer to something like that, sir?
So the first thing I would say is the goal is not to have to sell yourself, but to have people come to you pre-sold. And so I don't spend a lot of time convincing somebody to work with me. I think that when I initially talk to them and ask them questions, I demonstrate my goal is to, and I believe I do, demonstrate a level of expertise beyond the competitor, where they go, oh, wow, I get you really are an expert in this area. So they don't have to tell them I'm going to do it faster. They assume I'm going to do it correctly. So most commonly, before we get to that question, for example, I'll discover a problem that they didn't know they had. One example is like they'll be in probate for 2 years, and I can go online and look at their case file and point out a couple of things that were done wrong, not from a legal advice point of view, but from a business process point of view. There's no reason why it should take that long. Another one commonly is attorneys will recommend to clients, given the choice of full or limited authority in California. Full means they don't need the court approval, but they might have other restrictions like a bond or some other thing on them, versus limited authority, which is court confirmation. They'll save money in the bond, but they'll spend way more than that getting the property to the court and getting confirmed and closing it. I know those facts. I can walk through the numbers. Here's what the petition costs, the publication fees, your attorney's going to charge extra to show up. You need the court order performed. You need that filed. It's going to take an extra 45 to 90 days. I can walk them through those procedures and explain it. And so when at some point they get, okay, I get it. I've literally had sellers say to me, we'd like to interview you. We have 3 other realtors coming over. We have openings on Tuesday at 5 and Wednesday at 4. And I would say to them, look, if you think I'm like those other real estate agents, I'm probably not the right agent for you. If you don't need me, you don't need me. If you don't think you need me, we're not going to work very well together. I appreciate it. If you have any questions, call me. Here's my YouTube channel and here's my information. I've had sellers call me back and say, after I got your email, I saw your YouTube channel. I get you really know this stuff better. That's what we're looking for. So some customers aren't looking for that. That's okay. I'm not for everybody, but I'm pretty busy. So my job is to be busy. My job is not to do everybody's deal. And I'll also tell you, there's certain customers that want to just grind you in the ground on a beauty pageant. They're just not worth the time. I don't know if that helps a little bit. But if you focus more on being better, you spend less time telling people how good you are.
That's right.
That's my approach. Okay?
Okay, thank you.
Sabina, can I share those procedures with Excel? I'm not sure what procedures you're talking about. Can I share? Again, I get asked all the time, can I have a copy of your listing, the steps you shared with the client? I don't have them written out. Look, this is recorded. It's on YouTube. So yeah, I guess you could take it and create a transcription if you want to. I get asked all the time, can I get a copy of your listing presentation? I don't have one. And usually my listing presentation is, I'd love, like me to help you sell your property. Great. I'll send over a link for e-signature and take a look at it. And I'd love to help you get started. I really don't spend a lot of time because, again, the goal is to have them accept me as an expert, not to be one of 5 realtors struggling to stand out at a beauty pageant. Okay. Other questions, comments? Lisa Young, back for more.
It's me again.
Yeah.
Quick question. I use like seller guides and buyer guides. Have you created a probate guide that if somebody asks for it, they can click the link and have it in like a step-by-step thing? Would you do something like that?
I mean, I think they're great. I don't have, I have a,
I think it's much value in it. There's a lot of value to it. I don't know.
so I do have,
Can you see that?
it's just out of arm's reach. Okay. I do have, there's a company, alltheleads.com,
Mm-hmm.
and they sell marketing materials. And I bought their trifold brochure, and I didn't really customize it much. And I do hand those out from time to time.
And that's pretty much the marketing.
That's all I've used. That's really it.
Okay.
Yeah, I think again that I think I want to sell me, not the material. If really the material was the difference in the sale, then anybody could buy the material and beat you. So my focus has always been, there was a time in my career when I in the mortgage business I started in, and I had made a lot of money. And when you reinvest your business, you buy a lot of things, fancy brochures and flyers and mailers and this and that. And when I kind of lost everything, I had to restart in the mortgage industry, I went back to basics. I would show up with a client with just a notepad, a pen, take notes, and business cards and sell myself. And what I've come to realize is that that's more challenging, but it also is way more productive and rewarding. And so I don't, and I know that people have some really nice marketing stuff, and you guys are glad to share it. And I'm not poo-pooing it. I'm just saying, today I've been too busy talking to people to design a marketing piece. I'd rather talk to people who can refer me. But on this call, we have 46. Any one of you might have a probate referral in LA. I'd love for you to send it to me. I'd rather do that than spend my time on a marketing piece. Okay, thanks so much. And again, I'm not against marketing pieces. I don't want to make it sound like that. It's just, I did some of it. I have signs with my name on it. But you'll notice, I don't know if you know EXP, but I just got the basic sign, have my name added to it. I didn't customize it. I put my picture on it. It has a website, my phone number, my name, because that's what's required by law. It's done. I do those things, but I don't know that I would spend a lot of time and energy on that. Is market material regarding probate from all the, yes, I used, Sabina, your question is regarding probate from always.com. That's who I used. And they have trifold brochures. And I literally just took the first one and made the colors that matched my company colors. And that's all I use. And I can't say it's great or the best. It's just, you know what, actually, right here it is. It's so stupid because it's really just it really is just their default. God, so I've had these for so long. If you go to allthese.com, you'll see the basic, and I just put my name and number and to be honest, again, to get the legal details, I have the old logo. Technically, I'm not supposed to use these anymore. That sign I can't really use anymore because it's got the old logo on it. The company redid it 2 years ago. It's not even worth updating. It's not the most productive use of my time. Is it meant to target probates? Yeah, this is a trifold that is, the title is Trusted Probate Solutions. And what it does it does a good job, I think, of explaining the service. And if you took the probate mastery training, this is kind of the wheel of different vendors that you would bring. And the concept is, and again, don't get caught up in the marketing piece, but it's when I'm talking to somebody, I'm looking for their problem and to help them solve it. And so some people's problem is they're out of state and it's the house. Some people's problem is there's somebody in the house that they want out. Some people's problem is there's stuff in the house they want out. Some people's problem is they don't have enough money to get started. Some people's problem is they don't know who to talk to get started. I have to have solutions for all those problems. And so the idea of the brochure is to say, I am your solution to all things related to probate. And to an attorney, all those things are not legal, they really don't want to do. And I'll do that for them. I'll give you one example for an attorney. Sometimes they'll take a case in California, they can't get paid until the probate closes. They can take a retainer, but they can't take the money of the retainer and put it in their operating account. They can only hold it until the probate's distributed. They can use it for fees and costs, publication fees, filing fees, but they can't actually, they don't get a penny. Well, if the probate doesn't close, they won't get paid. One problem for attorneys sometimes is they don't know what the property is worth. They need somebody to reliably say what the property is worth. Yes, they can go to Zillow and Redfin, but I've had cases where we drove the property and discovered it was torn down to the sticks. And Redfin had it at $400,000 because they had a nice house there. When you drive the house, it's nothing but framing, and it wasn't worth as much as the mortgage. And here the attorney had filed the case and started on it, and he wasn't going to get paid a penny. So as a realtor, I offer, I say, listen, I know you have to file and put an estimate of the value. Rather than just use Zillow, let me do a free broker price opinion of the property. And I'll also give you a condition of the property. I'll drive by it, take pictures. I'll look inside. I'll knock on the door and let you know if there's a tenant, there's dogs, if it's kept properly or not. I got one recently where it was fenced because the city had been in violation. All those are things I can do to help them move forward. So is it good for drop-offs? Yeah, I don't know, Sabina. I don't do drop-offs. Again, not against it. I think the focus, I think dropping off stuff is nice as a way to leverage something else you're doing, but I wouldn't just focus on creating drop-offs. I'll give an example. Some of the top realtors in my neighborhood drop off flyers. I've never met them. I've never met any realtor who works in my neighborhood, but there's some that come by every month and drop off a piece. I work here most of the time. They've never door knocked and waited to talk to the owner of the house. I just find that interesting. Why would you not want to talk to people? Why would you avoid them? And the problem with drop-offs is you end up using that to kind of avoid talking to people and thinking you're doing something productive by dropping off a flyer. I just don't think it's that productive. Okay, boy, have I been on a pedestal today here talking about how I think business should be done? I'm sorry. And I will say this, business is different in every market. I can only speak conclusively on my personal experience in Los Angeles and Orange County and my experience talking to other agents like you in other areas. I will say in other areas, more rural, semi-rural, more suburban, that you can cold call attorneys and go cold to their offices and drop things off. You really can't do that in Los Angeles. We're very anonymous here. You're not going to get too far, I don't believe, in LA. But if I was in, Fernley, Nevada, I might look at the local attorneys and drop by and say, hey, I just happen to be in the neighborhood. Can I buy pick you up a Starbucks and introduce myself? That's more friendly stuff you do, but you don't do that in Los Angeles. People here be scared to death to have you come to their office. It's a different world. I grew up in a more semi-rural area, but I live in LA, and I'm just saying it. But the thing I want to say to you guys is you need to test your marketing for your market and for you, and do what's right for you in your market. Don't do what's right for me in my market because it worked for me, but it may or may not work for you. Okay, I think that's it for today. I just want to real quick recap who we are. This is the Probate Mastery weekly real estate coaching call. ProbateMastery.com. You can go in there and see 3 different levels of programs: basic, certified, and more detailed training and bundles. You can continue the conversation on Facebook at the Estate Professional Mastermind group. We have 7,000 members there. I'd love to have you. All these questions would be great there and get other people's opinions besides mine. I don't know everything. Even though I act like I do and talk like I do, I don't know everything. And then I separately host Probate Weekly on Thursdays at 4 p.m. Pacific time. Sign up at probateweekly.com. We have interviews with different attorneys and vendors every week. And then you can see the past episodes at episodes.probateweekly.com. And then I have a Facebook group, Probate Weekly, where you can post referral requests for attorneys, for realtors, probate-related content. I interviewed last week NEMU, which is a service to help families who've lost people. And I think that was interesting. And then this coming week, Probate Weekly with Philip Vincent. He does Mom's House, which is a way to build referrals through professional deal in senior living. So I hope you guys can come on that and enjoy that. I think I covered all the questions. If not, reach out to me at Bill Gross Probate on social media. Juan Carlos, is that a question or goodbye?
It's a question. What would be, if I wanted to get in touch with you, what would be the number to call you?
My phone number is 310-210-0000.
Okay.
In fact, it's right there actually.
310.
310-210-0008.
Great.
Or at Bill Gross Probate on social media.
Okay.
Okay, guys.
Great.
Thanks so much, everybody. Have a great week.
You too. Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.